Hello, everyone. Great to be here. Nice to see some familiar faces, some new ones. My name is Siman, CEO, co-founder at Sensars, a Class 3 PMA route medical device company focused on restoring sensations for treating complications of diabetic neuropathy. We're post-first in humans, so I'm going to be sharing some incredible results that we had during those trials, and we're focused on deepening our clinical activities in the next coming months. So I'm sure that each one in this room knows of someone that has diabetes. Why? Because it's a pandemic affecting over 500 million people. 50% of them eventually experience diabetic neuropathy, which leads to loss of sensations in their feet due to nerve damage. And so what's so bad about losing sensations in the feet? Well, it comes together with devastating complications, including increase of 3 times more susceptible to falls, and being completely unaware of infections or wounds that start to develop in the feet that leads to ulceration, those holes in the feet that quickly deteriorate to amputation. In fact, this is the leading cause of amputation today in the world. Every 20 to 30 seconds, a portion of the limb is being cut. And what's worse is that today's standard practice for treating those ulcerations is reduced to applying lotions and the doctors pleading with the patients to monitor their foot once a day. That's it. That's 2025. And the cherry on top, these patients also experience, the majority of them experience debilitating, excruciating neuropathic pain. 70% of them don't respond to medications, and the rest hooked on opioids. So this is a grave problem, not only for them, but also for the healthcare system, with costs, direct costs, amounting up to $73 billion every year in the United States and Europe alone. And we can prevent that. Using our patented Sensi solution, sensing stimulating system, we implant in a 1-hour surgical procedure, skin to skin, tiny microelectrodes inside the sciatic nerve, so the healthy portion of the nerve, mid-thigh level. And we tap into the sensory fibers of that nerve and stimulate them to restore the connection between the senseless foot and the brain. We get information from the senseless foot thanks to sensors that we embed in the insole of the shoe that pick up information of touch, motion, even temperature from the environment and from the foot itself, including biomarkers of early detection of ulcers. And we relay all that information wirelessly in real time to the relevant electrodes in the foot. So a sensor in the heel has an address in the electrodes, in the implanted electrodes in the sciatic nerve, electrode number 17, for example. And by doing that, we restore that protective sensation that you and I have and they don't, and we probably take for granted. We bypass that damaged nerve and we restore the sensation. It seems kind of science fiction, but we turn that science fiction into reality. In our first in human clinical studies on amputees. Why amputees? It's the most extreme case of neuropathy. So there's no ambiguity here. This patient doesn't have a leg, so he cannot feel it. And we restore the sensation. What you're going to see here is that miracle of sensory restoration. The patient can accurately recognize where and how strong we're pressing on his prosthetic limb.
I feel this one.
Okay, let that sink in. We're pressing on plastic, and he can feel it thanks to the electrodes inside his nerve. In addition, we've managed to demonstrate increase of walking speed by 30%, which is indicative of that sensory restoration, reduction of falls by 80%, and 100% responder rate to reduction of pain. So all our patients responded to that. Only we can do this, and we intend on keeping that with our strong IP portfolio, where we have a core patent that practically refrains from anyone to place an electrode transversely inside the nerve from one end to the other, coupled with additional PCT filings that we have already submitted for how we administer those electrodes, how we secure them to prevent migration, and to prevent breakage of the electrodes. The market is huge. Needless to say, we're talking about diabetes here, right? 1 million patients every year in Europe and the United States actively seek for medical assistance due to their loss of sensation without success, without any remedy. By targeting just 10% of that addressable market, we're able to obtain a $4 billion per year market share, which is a pretty good business case. How do we get to such high numbers? Well, thanks to available reimbursement codes that we can piggyback on upon market approval, in addition to an NTAP that we're eligible for, thanks to the FDA Breakthrough Device designation that we have already received. So with a little bit of numbers here, with a little as 70 clinical sites and 3 patients per site per month, we're going to be projected revenue of $165 million in the first 3 years alone. Competition-wise, we're the only ones able to provide this holistic end-to-end solution for treatment of the complications of diabetic neuropathy: pain, ulcer prevention, falls. Pharmaceuticals, they try to treat the pain, 30% effectiveness, and I don't need to tell you about the side effects. Wearables and other non-invasive devices, they try to restore sensations. They do it partially with poor coverage and highly reliant on patient compliance. Other neuromodulation devices do a decent job in mitigating the pain, but that's all. That's only part of the big problem, the hefty problem of ulceration and amputation, which eventually lead to that 70% mortality rate in the first 5 years post-amputation. So what we've done until now is exceptional. We've taken that earlier prototype that you've seen in the animation through successful clinical studies with over 25 peer-reviewed publications, made the cover of Nature and Science, got that coveted FDA Breakthrough Device designation that allows us expedited communication with the FDA, and nearly completed the conversion of our earlier version of the system to a commercial, scalable, manufacturable, usable system that we intend to take to the market. Oh, by the way, all of that with a mere $2.5 million in grants and awards. So pretty effective and pretty smart spending. And the team behind that is comprised of seasoned experts with decades of experience in neuroscience, startup development to bring to the market, clinical and regulatory affairs, backed up with a strong clinical advisory board and business advisory board, including renowned neurosurgeons, podiatrists, a world leader in limb preservation, and industry experts, including the former VP of Neuromodulation at Medtronic, who's going to be our future chairman of the board. Now we're raising another round to take us through the next stages of the product development, all the way until finalization of a pilot study of up to 20 patients with diabetic neuropathy by the end of 2027, in preparation for the larger pivotal study. We're already approximately $6 million in soft commitments, so if you want to join, hurry up. So a lot covered here, but what I wanted you to take away from this is the fact that we're bringing a new approach to neuromodulation. This intraneural approach is the future. It's the best way, and practically the only effective way of treating diabetic neuropathy, because we restore sensation. We go back to the root cause and provide that protective sensation that they lost. There's a good business case here of future revenue thanks to available codes, and a de-risked investment opportunity thanks to the compelling clinical studies that we've done proving the technology. Thank you very much.